Practicing yoga when you have scoliosis should never cause you any pain. You will have to modify a few poses though if you frequently end up with back pain and if your curve is getting worse. In this video, I will show you 3 common yoga poses and how to modify them in a scoliosis-friendly way so that you can keep enjoying your practice without any discomfort and fear of making it worse. So one of the first poses that I get people to modify with scoliosis is upward dog, which is part of our sun salutations. So this is part of a flow, and usually it looks something like this. We are in our plank and then we're rolling through the feet and coming in up into that upward dog and then going back into downward dog. Now, the problem is you can probably see it from my back. All the back bending is going to be in my lower back. And this is just not a great position for us with scoliosis. Most of us with scoliosis already have a very bendy lower back, so that we're kind of concentrating all that bending in this one area here. And obviously, if you have a curvature in the spine, it's going to be also rotated in this area. So it's just usually causing us problems more than it gives us any benefits. So I would always suggest to modify this one. So there's a couple of things that you can do, and this is also with anybody who's got a spinal fusion. If you are in a general yoga class and you are flowing through this, instead of coming into your upward dog, just bring your knees down, and then you have a choice. You could either just skip it completely and just do a little mini push-up here, strengthening the upper body before going into your downward dog, or you come all the way down and you just come into a mini cobra, which means bringing the elbows in towards you. And then it's just a little lift through the chest and you get some nice extension into your thoracic spine as well. Here, just a little bit, we're keeping the neck nice and long so that the curve is really evenly distributed here. The second very common yoga pose that we might need to adjust a little bit or modify a little bit is Trikonasana or triangle pose. And what I sometimes see is that it looks like this, and you can obviously imagine that this is my spine here. So this curvature goes to the right at the top and the left at the bottom. So very typical S-curve scoliosis. Let's see what it would look like in my Trikonasana. So I'm turning my left foot out, my right foot in, and then I'm going to bend over to the side, and you can see what is happening here with my thoracic curve. I'm just going further into my pattern. Similar, if I go to the other side now, what's happening with my lumbar curve? So watch the lower curve here. It's actually even worse if I'm going this way. So what can we do to modify this? The first thing I get people to do is simply widen their stance if they can. So let's see if that makes a difference. If I take my feet a little bit wider, I obviously still want to be comfortable and safe. I don't want to slip on my yoga mat. I'm turning my left foot out and my right foot in. So I'm allowing my pelvis to rotate towards the side slightly because I want to be hinging forwards here from the hips. I don't want to kind of keep my pelvis upright and then simply bending my spine. So let's see what we can do here. So I'm keeping my spine nice and long as I'm simply sliding the hand down the leg. And I just kind of stay at the place where I can still keep that thoracic side open. And for someone who has got maybe a really severe right thoracic curve, I might even ask them to rest a hand up on a chair. So if you imagine there was a chair here and I could be resting my hand on there, that might be a lot more beneficial for them. And we will go through this in much more detail in my upcoming 3-day challenge, where you can start to learn how you can start to adjust your yoga poses to your unique scoliosis curvature. But let's see what the other side brings. So if I take my feet a little bit wider, I'm going to turn my right foot out, my left foot in, And I see if can I hinge from the hips or am I just bending from the spine? No, I think I can. I want to really press down through my feet. Now watch my lumbar curve here. So I want to keep that space, this is called the concave side here, on the right side as I'm going into my triangle pose. And this might be it. I might not be going further than that at all. This might be very much enough here. Because if I was going any further, you can see what's happening with that lumbar curve. Even though I can, right? Sometimes teachers encourage you to grab the big toe. So I definitely don't want to do this on that side because that's exactly how my spine is going. So I want to kind of encourage a little bit more length here. So obviously, in order to adjust your practice, you have to know a little bit more about your scoliosis and you have to understand it very well to be able then to modify, adjust your poses and also choose the poses that are right for you. So you will learn all of this in the upcoming 3-day challenge and you can find out some more details if you go to movewithscoliosis.com/3-day challenge and you can sign up for $9 only. We have got daily practices on there with me. Lots and lots of tools to help you feel stronger and move better in your body. So the third pose to modify is a forward bend. And especially if we are in a seated forward bend, usually it looks something like this. Paschimottanasana is a common yoga pose. And you would extend your legs here and then you would round your spine and then maybe holding onto your feet or wherever you can hold on and round your back in this position. Now this is a great pose to kind of at the end of your practice to bring the energy down. So energetically, forward bends are fantastic. With scoliosis though, what we have to keep in mind is that if we're rounding our spine, we're also going to rotate our spine every time we do this. So what can we do to help us with this? First of all, I want you to try and sit in this position like I'm sitting right now. So with the legs extended and just sitting up straight. Now, if this is causing you problems right now, if you are slouching, if you're finding it really difficult to kind of sit up straight, if this is causing you lower back pain or anything else, a forward bend is not going to be a pose for you, at least not without modification. So what you can do in this case, you could sit up a little bit higher. Maybe you can sit on the edge of a very small block or maybe a small cushion. You could also bring a rolled up blanket underneath the backs of the knees and then see if that makes it any better. So I'm already finding this a little bit easier to sit up. So from there, what we want to do, instead of kind of just rounding our spine to come forwards, we're going to think about hinging from the hips. So this, where I've got my hands, is where the movement is coming from. So just try this out. See how far you can go, keeping your back nice and long. So for me, this is probably about it. And then I can just rest my hands wherever they fall. And then maybe I just slightly drop the chin. Again, this pose has got energetic benefits as well. So it's going to be very calming and starting to slow down your heart rate. You're still getting all the benefits of this forward bend. It's just a little bit more evenly distributed in my spine, as you can see. And it's just taking out that rotation element. Remember that you want to make sure that your scoliosis doesn't get worse and of course avoiding any back pain. So the best way to do this is to create a support system of exercises. Watch this video here where I show you how you can choose your own set of exercises that help you to protect your spine, be strong and move well.